Now with Word2Vec, we preserve the semantic information. Okay, we try to preserve the semantic information of the words and the context. Okay, so for instance, we saw earlier on over here, right? We saw that words that are closer to each other, right, will have embeddings that are very, very similar. Okay, they will have embeddings that are similar. For instance, king and then queen, right? They'll have embeddings that are similar to each other. Okay, man and then woman, right? Something like that. Dog and then cat. Okay, and maybe kitten, right? Cat and then kitten will have metrics that are similar to each other. So something like that. Okay, man, woman. Okay, something like that, based on some sort of a feature. All right, so we saw these kind of things. Now, if you come, if you come all the way here, right, that's what we have represented over here. So here, since king, right, king represent a man who is a king, right, or a man who is royal, right. So king will be much related to, or be much closer to man, right, and then queen will be much closer to woman, right. But queen will not be much closer to man, right? Queen will be much closer to king than being closer to man. Okay, all right. So that's basically what it's going to be. That's basically how it's going to be, right? Queen will be much closer to king, right, than being closer. If you measure the distance, this distance will be longer. Okay, this distance will be longer as compared to this distance. Okay, and also this distance will be very shorter as compared to this distance. Okay, so the ones that are very close to each other will have shorter distance, but the ones that are far from each other will have longer distance. Okay, depending on the context and the meaning of those words. Okay, now this one is even more of that. Okay, more of that. So here you can see that man is much closer to woman. Okay, and then king will be much closer to man than woman. Right, the same way queen will be much closer to woman. Right, and then here, right, father and then mother will be much closer. Okay, father and mother will be much closer, right? And since father can give birth to girl and then son, right, they will be much closer to that. Okay, instead of maybe son being closer to say slower. Okay, it doesn't actually make that sense, right? Slower will be much closer to slow and then slowest. Right? Faster will be much closer to fast and then fastest. Okay, long will be closer to long, right, and then longest, right? Something like that. Okay, France, right, Paris will be much closer to France, right? London will be much closer to England, right? Rome will be much closer to Italy, something like that. He much closer to himself, right? And then she much closer to herself. All right, something like that. So these are, what Word2Vec will help us to do, right? To maintain the semantic meaning or the context of the word, right? Instead of just word being word on its own. All right. So what we're going to do is that I'm going to go to the lab session and show you how we generate Word2Vec. Okay, how we do Word2Vec when it comes to the practical implementation. Okay, and over there we're going to use the Gensim that we saw earlier on. Okay, we're going to use that one. You can use Keras, you can use other libraries, which we will see later on. But for now, I'm going to use Gensim to demonstrate that for you to understand. All right, so let's go to the lab session.